This is episode 3 in this series where I pick up this Hyosung sense that I found these pictures on Tradera, an auction site here in Sweden. It looked pretty good on the pictures, so anyway I managed to win it pretty cheap, so I went to get it. So here I'm getting close. It was a nice summer evening. This is Sundängen, about 50 kilometers from home. And there we have it. This is how it looks. Let's have a closer look. First I had to empty the oil.
It's pretty full on oil.
And also maybe some fuel. First it looked like it was missing the airbox cover, but I found it later on. The mileage looks pretty good. It was just five letters or numbers.
This is cracked.
And the front
it's been taped or something.
front light is cracked.
Crack here.
The turning lights are cracked, and yeah, the rims are rusty. It's been loaded. Sweden, in the middle of May, and we got some cows here also. I didn't get the package holder. He said he had it, but he didn't have it, so that's a bummer. I think this is pretty new. It's probably been a kid that has been burning or something. The front tire seems to be original or something. Total price was about $82 for this spare part scooter.
Got some major.
I couldn't get the key out, and that the oil lamp was lit all the time when I tried to turn it off. So there was something troubling with the mechanics in the key holder or electronics here. You can see I managed to get it out, but it's still is lit. Everything electric is on. So some major electronics problem. Turned out that the ignition lock was really messy underneath. You can see here all the spider webs and so on. So that was causing a problem. When I got it clean, it was working better. Here I'm trying to check the status of the battery that came with it. It was in good shape, so I could just charge it up. Here the ignition lock is clean.
No, it's
much
clean.
Better,
And
the electronics major problems went away. Next thing was the CDI. Someone had cut the cable, one cable there. It's probably the speed limit, so I'll put that back so we have speed limit again. Next was the kick mechanism. It didn't work, it got stuck. It was the same when we tried to start it at the cellars. I couldn't get it to function, so something major is wrong inside. I couldn't find so much troubles in the variator side, but just greased everything up. And next was checking out the oil sensor. Turned out that the oil sensor was unreliable, but I didn't know how to fix it, so I let it be, just fill it up. That's what I got. I'm gonna put it back together. Then it was time to check for compression, and it was decent. I get it up to 100 with a full throttle, so that was nice. That at least makes it run pretty decent and be easy to start. Rims are rusty and need some work. It's been standing outside. You can see here. Need to clean it up. Good. Remove the carburetor. Try to clean it. Didn't get the results I wanted, so it was about time buying a new one. While I'm at it, I decided to do some maintenance, service the bearing, put some grease on it, and yeah, overall check out the status. In episode 2 I removed the gear oil, replaced it with new one, SA80W90, and then I removed the tank, tried to fix the tank measuring gauge
container.
Also the oil reservoir was checked. Anyway, I managed to fix the tank fuel gauge level sensor.
So I'm gonna replace this.
Also had to replace the valve, petcock valve with a manual one.
There we have it. I'm just gonna fasten it.
Couldn't trust the old one, so it's starting to move, but still was bogging down pretty bad.
No.
So
Enough of this
back to
carburetor.
the carburetor,
Replace it with a new
trying
one.
to see what's wrong with
Let's
it.
give it a try,
Ended up
see if we can
replacing
get
it
to start.
with a new one from Kevlar, and now it's starting to finally started to work. Here's episode 3.
Yes. Let's see if the light works. It's also nice. Sounds good. Right. Yeah. Better than before. Brakes are bad. Almost to the so for 375 I mix ordinary here 2%. Let's see if the meter works. Yeah, goes up. Nice, so it's working. Opening in the front there. Something is wrong with the front. Didn't know if you can see, but it's quite hectic. So something is wrong with the steering. But it isn't. Something is wrong with the steering. It isn't straight. Probably been a crash or something, and it's been damaged or whatever. Need to check that up. Otherwise, running good. Little low on idle. I'm just gonna adjust that, and yeah, looking good. Got it working at least, and the fuel meter is showing full, so that's nice. Got that working also. Definitely bent. The rim is bent somehow. Don't know if you can see it from that side. Let's try this one. You see it? It's one of these legs that have got hit or something. Have to figure that thing out. I think this is some kind of RPM limit, so I'm gonna remove it. I'm gonna put it back to the original using this U-bolt and attach them again like this. This is where an extra cable for if I want to put the battery back here. Pull some cables so I can put a battery here. Got a 50 amp fuse there, and shoes for the batteries. I think it's this piece. Got some marks here. Hard to see anything with just your eyes. Yeah, cut it off. Looks like this. And of course you had these, so I had to put 13 or 12, I think it was 12 behind it. So I'm just gonna clean it, and I think I'm gonna paint it. I'm gonna try to straighten it out with some 2x4 or something like that. We'll try at least. I don't really know how we will do it. Preparing it for eventually we'll paint it. Using 180 paper to rug it up, and so the paint will stick. And of course remove most of the rust. This ain't no beauty contest. It will just stop most of the rust. That's the main purpose. Then the rim is still bent, so I won't do much extra work on it. That I have to do. It's time to paint it. The paint was better on this side. Yeah, clean it with acetone and paint it. Okay, so I think it's much better. It's not perfect, far from it, but it's much better. Compare it to the previous. I'm using this board, putting it between the rims and bending and measuring, sort of using like this, and see which way it should go, and then bend it the right way. With this one I'm just pushing it against the floor and pushing on with the foot. So it seems to be working. So while the tire or the rim is getting fixed, I checked out the brakes here, and they're really worn out, far as I can tell. So I'm gonna grease it up a bit and then remove it and see if I can find some spare parts. The brakes have been cleaned. So it's been painted with rust protection all around, and now I'm gonna paint it with some white. I bought it on Biltema. It's a matte color. It's a bit hard to get it cover everything. Have to do it a couple of times, I think. I don't want to put too much on it either. Just keep the excess off. Yeah, and then do the other side. We got one layer of the Urethane Alkyde paint, and now I'm gonna wind it down, sand it down a bit. You can feel some hardness here and there, some spots. You see here, got a lot of spots. So clean that up a bit, and then we go for a second layer. So it has been dried for about 40 hours or something like that. So I think it's beginning to get solid and dried. But yeah, I'll just sand it down a bit. Don't have to film it. Yeah, so this never ends, seems. Been doing a poor job. You can sort of peel this off. More worse than I thought. If I had a sandblaster I would do it, but then I would need to remove the tire, and that's a hassle also, so I've grinded it down a bit more. It never ends.
So it's shiny metal here, really nice. And yeah, I shouldn't take my fingers on it, but I'll do it anyway just to show you. Show you. So we got clean metal all around here. Yeah, I don't have the patience to do any more, so I'm gonna start putting some rust stuff again. This is what I'm gonna do. It's zinc paint, rust protection color with zinc, and then put the urethane alkyde enamel on top of it, which I believe is water based, and the rust up is oil based, and that is why when I put the gray on the white, it doesn't work, since it is oil on water. Painted it with the rust stuff, and again we can see that it's cracking up here. Hope you can see it. Got cracks here. So it definitely doesn't like to be put on top of the urethane alkyde, this gray one. So I'm gonna grind this, sand this one down, and then also gonna put a bit sand on this, so the next color will attach. So I'll grind this down a bit and see how it goes. Using 180 paper, remove the dust. So far no cracks. This is good paint that works on most other paint so far, if you just sand it. First layer again, let it dry, and maybe sand it again, and then do another layer, and so on. The process, you should only use sort of one stroke like this, then be happy with it. But you have to use the right amounts of paint, of course. But the strokes usually becomes best if you just use them one or twice. So I'm gonna paint this all now, and probably have to do another layer too, so that's 3 layers. But I don't think I'm gonna grind it down that time. We'll see if it sucks. Yeah, this is how it turns out. Yeah, this is after. Time to install new brake pads. This is the old ones. Let's see, one is really almost. The other one is pretty fresh. It's okay. The trick is to get this one in here first, and then this one you push back, and this doesn't jump out, which it did. Okay, I do it again, this time the right direction. This one here you push on here first, this side, and this you just push down and press down, and then this one, and push this one back, and there we go. And of course that one pops out again. There we go, something like that. Now we can get the, I think this is it.
that okay? Yeah, I believe so. Just tighten it down. How it's working, but it's a bit loose. Maybe need more brake oil. That's for another video.
Savoring this moment, is this our last goodbye? That we loved each other, I guess one of us lied. So please just pull away, I can't look you in the face.